videos. If you want to go ahead and kill your videos, by all means, do so. Any letters that you can make out?
No.
Just take a quick peek at them.
Hello?
No, I got nothing. Any of those. A J in there, but this guy's much older than that guy. But anyway, he starts to drop like a wet noodle, white as a ghost. Like I have to pick him up by his armpit, like so he doesn't hit his head on the pavement. Well, his boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him, and we get him over to that wall. He starts to feel better after I get him a bottle of water and the whole nine. I then tell them the story I just told you, so they don't know anything about Ann Bonnie. I separate everybody with their devices, and them two pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are two transgender males. Meaning I had two females dressed as males, just like Ann and Mary from the story on my tour. And it made complete sense as to why one of them felt faint as soon as we entered the space. These are the things that happen in my groups that I can't explain, and that's why I give those warnings. Psychics and mediums normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. Those 80 milligauss readings, they're dropping, and I gotta call paramedics. It happens all the time. I don't want to say all the time. I will probably say twice, 3 times a year. So again, that to me is enough. So first time somebody passed out, I was actually in CPR class the next day. Yeah, scared the hell out of me. New guy out on the streets, I have no idea what I'm doing yet, and somebody drops like a wet noodle because some psychic thought she was going to go play something with me and have a great time. I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to tell me these things. So, again, let's have some fun in this space. I'm actually going to go park it over there by that wall and then start bouncing around with you guys. You guys already know what you're doing with all your devices by now. Nate, you've been recording this whole time. Did I screw up anybody's name tonight, by the way? I thought I actually did pretty well. You guys were an easy group.
You got them all.
All right, good deal. All right, so let's have some fun. Spread out. You got yours recording, Dave?
It's on.
All right, good deal. Let's do this. What letters do you have before we separate?
Nothing intelligible. It was going off the whole time. I'm getting bit up out here. Because I wasn't getting bit up before, but now I'm getting bit.
And you don't spray anything?
Nope, I'm fucked. I already feel it. And like over there, I had like 2 spiders on me.
Oh. Love this, like, totally into history and stuff, so the other ones that we do, I mean, totally scratch that history itch when you're wanting to really get into, like, the history of a new city.
This one's more like tight knit too, it's like less people.
Yeah.
Usually the other ones are like 20.
Yeah, the other ones are usually a lot more people.
Well, we're hoping we get the horse-drawn carriage toured them around. They built a lot of the blanks that it was simply even from this.
Yeah, see, we did just a normal walking tour yesterday morning. That gave you more information about like the actual history of the city, and like we had already heard about the earthquake points and the indigo background with Larissa and things like that. Because we had done that tour yesterday. So you'll definitely get like those gaps filled in.
I don't get these earthquake tracks. So there looks like there's one hole per bus. They said like that.
Dead zone in here.
And then it was like started investigating. There actually is quite a bit going on here. So again, it's a hit or miss. We'll see what goes on. We do have viewers.
It's a little boy.
Yeah, it's not doing. The only time I was over there and he said there was electrical something.
Yeah,
in there, so.
I got that on the end. I was like, oh, that's electrical.
This me sounds bad. What the fuck?
I know.
I'm surrounded. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
A lot of times it's not until I'm going through the data the next day because I have all my notes and I'm looking at them as I'm going through the videos and watching to see if there's kind of looking like booking. Yeah, if it pops up and I see it's where they are,
It's a good blend when you get, 4 parents and 6 kids.
Believe it or not,
5 kids.
the teenagers are much more
You know why?
I believe it.
Are you a skeptic?
Huh?
Are you a skeptic?
No, but like anybody my age is skeptic of everything. So
Yeah.
He's right.
yeah.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
All right, let's pull everybody to the wall. You guys can start telling me what we actually found. When you got anything?
I got Bible over by the wall over there.
Okay.
I got your name again.
My name again?
Yeah.
Stop all the crazies. Maybe that's me. I'd like to hear my name.
Got all the crazy chickens. Oh. Somebody.
Anybody else hear anything? Any letters going on? Tessa, any more words? Alright, so the fact that my name showed up here several times, again, not surprised at all. So we're gonna, hopefully I'll come across those. Let's go ahead and put that on mute for me. So hopefully I come across those when I'm doing the spot check of Sophia's recording, because I believe you heard my name once too, right?
I don't think so.
So I know my name showed up on your word list
Thursday,
earlier.
yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
So,
Maybe on mine.
yeah, I think you, yeah, a lot going on. That's why I write everything down.
It's hard to remember everything.
Bless you. For all you picture takers, it doesn't really get much better than that if you want to take a horizontal shot. With not a full moon, but it is definitely a
What song?
So you're going to find out that my name showing up here is one of 3 Nicks. It's going to be one in the story I'm about to tell you, me, and then on the other side, we're not going to talk about him, but on the other side of that little building over there is the Nicholas Trot House. So we actually got Nicholas's initials on the new Envoy that Kiri has. So that showed up 2 or 3 nights ago. Wow, you're getting a lot now.
I know it's lighting up, but I can't make out it.
Yeah. A bunch of
Oh
nothing,
my god,
right?
it said Sophie.
It's Sophie. Alright, so I'm excited about my name showing up because this is where it actually shows up quite often. And by the way, you're probably going to start hearing religious terms like Bible, preacher, priest, church. We're near one of the biggest churches in Charleston. It happens all the time. Just so you guys kind of have that mentality. Tessa, did you have anything show up since we left that?
Robert,
She knew. Simple, worth, years, less, shepherds.
Okay. Robert is. Interesting. Alright, so first off, we're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there. That's the powder magazine. Those are not crosses on that building, just so everybody knows. Those are earthquake bolts. If nobody explained those to you, they're basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we haven't, you can turn the turnbuckles. You guys are all from California. Why the hell am I explaining earthquake bolts to y'all? You guys know what these are, right?
We don't have earthquake
We don't have
bolts.
earthquake.
You don't have them anymore.
Kind of
Yeah.
built in, yeah.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the whole point of it is that you can tighten them up on a turnbuckle, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up after the earthquake.
Right.
So I'm like, it just realized, like, dawned on me. Sorry about that. I'm like, wait a minute, I got all Californians here. I don't know what the hell these
Our
are.
houses are just built this way.
Yeah.
And buildings.
Yeah. But don't you guys have like weird shifter plates underneath
Yeah.
now too? Yeah.
Some have high-rises have rollers.
The rollers,
Right.
yeah.
Mostly just steel and
Yeah, but still, the technology it took to figure out earthquake bolts don't work and let's put it on rollers, like that's a whole different ball game. And you guys have been seeing earthquake bolts all over town. You just probably didn't realize it because it's part of our Charleston charm.
Yeah.
It's lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of mess all over town.
Yeah, they
So
had pointed them out on a walking
we have a lot
tour
of
today.
those. But the reason I point these ones out specifically, those very crude crosses over there, is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. Because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this building is a familiar to the time frame that Anne Bonny came to Charleston to start her pirate career. So again, it's like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same mentality. So we talked about those Charlestown walls earlier too, back in Lodge Alley. Does everybody remember that? So where that garage sits now is where the walls actually stood. So it went up past the powder magazine and started going south behind me, locking the powder magazine into the corners of the wall on purpose. If it gets attacked from a pirate ship or Revolutionary warship from the water, it's gonna have a hard time making it this far, first off. Second, the walls are 32 inches thick. It's gonna have a hard time going through if it does attack it. Let's pretend that it goes all the way through. It blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof that was put there during construction to go up in the air with the explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. So the sand is still there because it's never been attacked. But that's another great idea that doesn't work either. So I seen them like, oh, that's actually pretty clever. No, it's dumb. Here's why. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get hit. The sand went up. The building burned to the ground. It doesn't exist. This one's just never been hit, even though it has served 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So, and it has served in the Civil War, which is probably one of the biggest wars it has served in. French and Indian as well, so we'll get those terms as well. But anyway, I digress. With that, we are here, again, because it's familiar. This building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's perfectly fine. But our story actually begins right in the middle of its construction. So, 1708, you guys are going to have to follow me. There's a couple twists on this one, and I'll slow down on the twist, just so you know. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? The 3 of them are running away from his wife. How angry was she? Just going to put that out there. She's got to leave the country in 1708. She's an angry woman. Now, they land in Georgetown, just north of here. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. You guys passed through it when you guys were coming back down here. So, Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Now, Anne, back home in Ireland, kind of a badass chick. When she was only 10 or 12 years old, so about Tessa's age, she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. So, again, your age, she's killing people. Kind of want to put that mentality of this young lady as we kind of go through her whole story. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713, pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked because she's going to fall in love and get her freedom, just like a man. Guy number 1, yes, I'm going to keep tally, there's a hand. Guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonney. You can already see where this one's going, right? Dad didn't approve, he's a filthy pirate, they run away to Jamaica, they get married, Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonney. However, this is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for, right? So this guy's a privateer, he's a spy for the British, this is not who she wants, he's a coward. A few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. This is the real person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow Disney character off of, by the way, and he does have his own ship. So, Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
You have to marry her first.
No.
Bad luck.
Bad luck, right. Females on a pirate ship are bad luck. So, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad back home in Ireland used to cross-dress her as an apprentice boy to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, let's do this. I'm a pirate. But most of us are adults here, put 2 and 2 together, being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl.
One big bear belly.
Yeah. So he actually drops her off in Cuba before she starts the show. Have the baby here, we'll come back for you, we'll figure it out later. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. She's also dressed like a female. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. While she was away giving birth to Jack's child, he captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting with that pirate crew to make Jack even more mad because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed as males on the same ship. Now, this young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So sometimes we get the name Mark here, so you know. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain, just so you know. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships after them to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet. Now, obviously 2 ladies taking on a fleet of ships is not going to get, going to work out for them in their favor. So as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." So the word dog shows up here quite a bit on your spirit boxes. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't come up and fight. So, the Calico Jack and the crew are dead. Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They were hoping to save themselves, but they're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they said, both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in the Charlestown area. He brings Anne back home because he's got all of his Irish money. He was an attorney back home. He brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary, has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending. What happened to Mary Read? She died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most articles will say fever. I call BS on that one. I'm sure it was very scurvious and nasty. Use your imagination. So, for all of you spirit box that you guys want to actually work with in here, I only left out 2 questions. I'm not going to go through an assignment like what I did at the Pinky Mansion. You all know what the hell you guys are doing by now, but you've been a very fun group. I will say that. This has been very lively for me. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. I'm sure some of you may have noticed that. That would be the father and his mistress. So you can ask what her parents' names were. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So you can ask what that is as well. As far as with yours, I want you to focus. You are going to use the motion sensor in here, and I want you to focus on what Anne Bonny's hair color was. I'm hoping she's going to show you.
Okay.
We do not expect colors and numbers, so your other device, it's all about pictures for you here. Those of you with cameras, you can go around to the front of the powder magazine and get some footage and or photographs. I ask that you just don't get in the way of the other tours. That's my biggest concern. Just let them do their thing and move on, and we're going to go up and get some footage. I'm going to steer you guys for one more minute. Before we start separating, because this is our last stop, I would always like to tell you guys why I give that heated warning at the beginning of the tour like I did. So, back in September of last year, I brought my entire group back here. The kid next to me, and I call him a kid because again, it is residential at the end, and other tours will be passing through there. So, again, Dave, when I say Andy's coming, you're going to drop your roll on. So we got to have that mentality. You're in a perfect spot next to the belly. That's what most people do with that. So this is called Philadelphia Alley behind me. That's what we all know it by now, but it used to be called Dueller's Alley. So this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all tell the same story of the same duel, but I tell it differently because you're ghost hunting. You need a little bit more detail than what the normal campfire ghost story tours tell. So here's how this one goes. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. So, yeah, we had the name Amanda show up on the word list earlier. Again, relatively close. We're going to take it, make sure there's another relative term to match it up with as we kind of go through. At this point, it's just coincidence, so we'll take it as that. Now, Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney that's helping her out with all of the cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, the doctor moves to Charleston. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to go down. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph because we're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI shows up here a lot, and especially with the new device, I'm hoping it's going to show up even more. But that's 2 clues, 2 different characters. I need a secondary verifier, just so you guys know. But anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here, dude. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. He's got a gunman inside. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be safe. You'll be good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and they become friends. The longer the doctor stays in Charleston, you're getting all kinds of letters.
I know.
The longer he stays here, the more money he's making, which means Amanda's moving down soon, because he's proving his point that he wasn't after her money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. I am here to tell you that every haunted city you will ever visit has a whistling ghost. It's a cliche, we all have one. There is proof of this one, just so you gotta get that mentality of it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other. Why? The doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was fantastic, Ralph, not so much. It gets a little bit more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Ralph, being from here, has friends at the newspaper. Calls his friends up, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of like he's a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueller's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. But Ralph has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor doesn't die either. He falls to the ground, and his friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. This guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. Just kind of keep that in mind. So the ghost part, the campfire can't be part of this, is that as you walk through the alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. Well, you're ghost hunting with me. So I used to take my teams all the way through there, and it was all about listening through the voice recorder. So again, do I have whistles that I can't debunk? I do. However, if you're going to try this on your own, you turn on your voice recorders from your phone. Keep in mind, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. So we're going to end right there where that street light is, and my garage is right there. So I have to pass the alley every night. If my daughter's on the tour, it's kind of like a little game. Who's going to throw the whistle first down the alley? Just because I got kicked out of there. So let's talk about how that happened, because that's the fun part of the story, right? Kind of nice that there's nobody down there. Hopefully we'll get some good footage. This alley didn't always go all the way through to the Cumberland Street side where we're standing right now. So that means that the bricks on the other side are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. That means I had to pretty much turn them every hour to sun-dry them and bake them. There's a full handprint and fingerprint swipes in those bricks down at the end. And I would always show them off because it's part of our history and everybody needs to see it just to show how far we've come away from slavery. Because I'm sure you guys picked up on about history, right? Mm-hmm. So, one night, my entire group of 10, November 26th of 2020, decided they're going to huddle around that brick with the handprint in it, and they're going to try to get a reading out of it. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. Well, that brick is right outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. And he was not happy with me night after night after night. He had had enough. So he come out screaming. My 15-year-old daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. November 27th of that year. Yes, these dates mean something. I'm getting to it. So, I did not have a tour on Thanksgiving. I worked in retail for over 20 years. I finally took a break from Thanksgiving. The next day was November 28th. I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do based on the ordinances here in Charleston, or to reroute my group. Well, I felt like it wasn't fair for my group of 10 to try to investigate half of an alley, which is an alley, a skinny space. And it's very popular, doesn't show that now, but you guys get my point. So I decided I'm going to reroute my group, and I told them flat out, I don't believe in the story that we're about to go through. I kind of gave them a gist of what happened that morning with the phone call, and I said, I'm going to tell you what I know, but we're going to see what happens as we go. Before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating female pirate Anne Bonny. So I was like, all right, maybe we'll have something going on. We get up there, I told a little bit about pirates that I knew about in Charleston and kind of winged it, and somebody else hears the number 300. I didn't know what that meant until I did the research the next day. Turns out we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So, I keep taking you guys back up there in hopes that we're going to keep capturing more pirate lore. Now, I'm a vampire guy through and through, which is part of the reason why I didn't want to go into a pirate story, but we're in Charleston. If anything, because again, it's a hit or miss location where you're going to have a lot going on or nothing going on. You're going to learn a whole hell of a lot about pirates that you guys ever wanted to dream about, because I had to read all the books, which means you guys have to, hear about it from me. So, and before we leave the space, do we have any crazy letters? Yeah, I got nothing on any of that. It's kind of garbage. We're getting a lot of Z's out of it. I know you were focused on me. Tessa, what do you got going on with yours?
Almost 3 or 2 left and check.
Left?
And then before that, you can separate, collect.
I'd have to look to see which leg Dr. Ladd was shot in.
95? Is that an important date?
No.
Well then.
The doctor died in 1786.
It's Papa Roach.
Very interesting. But I'm definitely going to dive into what that left means, because it could have been the left leg that he was shot in. All right, let's go learn about pirates and see what we can get going on. Gary, do we need to get a reset on that?
I just did, Nick.
Dad, you want to stay with the camera for a bit?
I'll switch. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Hey, you know what ghost in Spanish is?
Anything out.
Bro. It's like easy too.
Really? I'm not getting anything.
Oops, so sorry. What is ghost in Spanish? Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's duh.
And Spanish, yeah. So like only like a few seconds of Spanish. Yeah. It's simple as that. Stop. It's just a lot of white.
Stop here. There it is. All right. Got everybody? I didn't lose anybody to the bar? That's cool. Pass up Max along the way. Every once in a while, like a straggler. And it's like, all right, where'd they go? All right, so let's talk names. What did you guys hear along the way? Do we have any spellings? What do we got going on?
No spelling.
What was it?
Someone just picks
right, so
letters
the answer
out.
here? Yeah, that's a good one for our next case.
It's like a digital
that's actually
Ouija board,
relevant.
so if there's like
Reason why-
anything communicating with it, it'll try and spell it out.
Were you listening at all, or were you focused on?
Maybe
Spell out
the
all
ghosts
the
aren't that technologically advanced yet. They're like, what the hell is this thing?
We don't want to listen here because we're next to a control room, so we don't want to that's required to turn it down. Glenn, you got anything? Jim? No letters matching
No
up to
letters
anything?
matching up to anything, nope.
All right, Sophia, did you get anything other than Tia? It's so weird that you guys are getting all this Spanish.
I got like a hot second of another Spanish like not too long ago. We speak Spanish though, so maybe they know.
No, we're gonna keep that on mute in here. Just because we are next to a hotel, and again, I don't know if somebody's occupying that room. Those blinds are open, so we don't spend a lot of time here. So let me just take a quick peek at those before I kind of tell us where we're at. That's all we got along the way? Those 5 letters?
No, I cleared it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was.
So, welcome to Lodge Alley. When we crossed over that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. So,
Seems like it.
the names I commonly get here are from a roster of people that were residents here. I have the full list, and don't be too impressed because it's not a lengthy list. Again, only 2 to 5 people live down here at one given time. I commonly get the same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks. Right now, we're on week 6 of that loop, about to hit week 7, starting tomorrow. The names are Benjamin and John. So, here's the weird thing about Benjamin and John. First off, there were 4 different Johns that lived down here during a 60-year time span. John likes to give us his last name in the same night as Ben and John. We'll get Ben, John, and Johnson. Yes, his name was John Johnson. He had a horrible mother. What do you want me to say? So, we'll get all 3 of those, and the 2 of those gentlemen lived here in 1801 together. So, probably separate, houses, but that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here. Every once in a while, a 3rd name will pop up. That name is Jane. We don't hear that name, believe it or not, too often anymore. So why are we getting that name? That's a 3rd person that lived down here in 1801. Now, here's why I think this is happening. The bricks you're standing on have been here since 1739 that we know of. So, we're speculating because we don't even know for sure with our historians here. The stone tape theory basically states that any natural stone that is in the same place for long periods of time, say a few hundred years like these, can hang on to the consciousness of the memories of the things that occurred here. Now, these bricks are made of granite. They are not supposed to have any EMF spike whatsoever. So if you even break granite, it's not supposed to release an electrical charge like a magnet or quartz. So, go ahead and, Larissa, I want you to put your device on the ground. Pick any brick and just lay it down. And let me know if you get any numbers out of it. I would expect up to a 1.1 because that's natural from the earth. So again, anything above that 2.5, we're going to take note of. At times, we've seen it go all the way to 15.7, 15.8. And last night we had like a 3739. I think were the terms of the numbers we had last night. Do we have anything going on?
No, it's 0.6.
0.6. So again, up to 1.1. I don't think we're going to get anything out of it at this point. You might have to pick it up so that way you guys are punched on these hard bricks.
Keep getting a
but
reading.
Again, that's part of the reason. Yours is a steady reading. So
Yeah,
pretty
there's
close to
electrical somewhere.
Got it.
Yeah. So I would normally, when it's
'Cause it
steady like
doesn't
that,
flicker and all
yeah,
that.
it's considered a rhythm, especially when it just stays on. So
Yeah.
again, I would count that as coming from something man-made, which means
Right.
it's probably coming from something inside these
Yeah.
brick walls.
As soon as I bring it up, it's
Yeah.
like right there.
It's hovering right there by your leg.
Yeah.
Before the people lived here that I told you about, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. hence the name Lodge Alley. So we do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons, obviously Freemason, Mason, Brick, but the red spirit boxes with the earbuds, I get the word Illuminati all the time coming from those two spirit boxes. First thing is, we're talking to, like, basically convey messages from radio speaks. Who the hell's talking about Illuminati on the radio? That's my first question. The second thing is, why are we only hearing it when we're in this space? 6 times last year alone, 3 times so far this year, all verified. And it wasn't anything that was like afterwards, it was like as we were coming in. So they didn't even know, like you guys didn't know when you came in here, that the Freemasons had Masonic Lodge here. It was like, I just heard Illuminati. I'm like, damn it, why do they keep coming through with that? You can't prove, like, all these conspiracy theories. So, again, we don't spend a lot of time here because this, with the bricks here, it loves to hang on to the humidity. So, we are going to go to another alley. Here's what's going to go down with that guy. Are you recording? Yeah, good. We love the camera loves to find orbs in this location. So, again, that's part of the reason why I like to record with your camera in here. The next alley, and your video is going to be upside down, Dave, just so you know. You got the camera on the wrong side. So stop the video and restart it back up. Oh, okay, good. I just noticed it was on his right side, which means it would have been upside down for everybody else. Yeah, there you go. You got it now.
The camera's right here.
The next alley, I can't take you all the way through it. Here's why. I've actually been kicked out of it. You guys have all the blinky lights and noisemakers and all of that stuff, and it is considered residential at the end. So we're not going to go all the way through the alley. I tell the story outside of it, kind of stirring up the activity, because it's relatively close to our last stop, and we will get clues from both stories, basically from stirring up the activity outside the alley. We're going to be getting closer to those other bigger groups are going to be. We just kind of stay out of their way. They're going to tell a story and move on. We're going to tell some history and investigate. What was that letter?
T.
Anything starting to spell out at all?
No. M-O-R-T. More at the end. That's it's more.
Mortician.
Right.
More tea.
More tea.
Morty.
Morty. So, as we exit the alley, those of you that have your video, cameras recording, you'll stop your videos as we exit, because we are going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to that next alley, and we don't record houses the same way we don't record cars. So, same principle there. But yeah, spirit boxes, definitely continue listening in. Tessa, I want to see your word list as we're walking. You have the word parent?
I just heard Adam. That sounds good.
I'm going to write it down. Amanda's actually yeah, you can write it down.
This thing's an old ass road. Flip off. Cool.
Oh, it just said the power pop.
I ain't trying to get jumped in this alley now. Pirates. Get any Cardi B yet? Okay.
Come over here and start asking questions. Start asking questions over here. How old was Eliza when she died?
What about it?
Sort of like have multiple people together because we have different equipment, and that way, like, if I see something, I can tell you before, like, I start seeing something. Why did Eliza die from?
All right, you're getting the gist of yours. Nice and easy, right?
Yeah.
Nice slow movements.
If I'm in a lighted area, I turn the infrared off, right?
No.
Or, no, just leave it on?
Just leave it on.
All right.
Yeah, you're good. So it'll break through it a little bit. So even if there's an orb just kind of passing through, the natural light that we can see is not going to stop an orb from moving.
Oh, okay. So it'll record
Yeah.
either way. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And are you recording at this point? Yes, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. I have a follow-up.
And then it just like went back down. Weird.
Do you get anything over here too? Like this whole little strip. That's why I asked about the utilities. I'm like, is there something underground that would cause it like in this
What's
perfect
weird
little
when we get them that high, they're sometimes mostly found like in the center.
Like it just went on 5.9.
Let me see what.
Yeah, record this guy in the suit. Damn, you sassy. I have. I've been like walking back and forth.
All right, let's get everybody to the back now that everybody has a good gist of what you got. spirit box on mute. Those of you with video cameras, go ahead and stop your video, give your cameras a break, give your hands a break.
Is it the far left? Far
So-
right?
Far right is infrared. What's the stop button?
That is the stop button.
Oh, that is the stop. Oh,
Yeah, the infrared button is in the front.
oh, gotcha.
So yeah, you just want to tap it.
Just tap it.
Oh, tap.
But I'm not going to. I have to mention it because it is a part of our history. We're going to talk about Eliza. Way cooler story. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you ask her, once we separate, how old she was when she got married, you are not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14 like the colonial times that she came from. Think of today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age when they married. Kind of a creepy age gap back then, creepy age gap now. So just kind of keep that in the back of your brain. But she married Charles because her father was over in England, and he's trying to bring all of his children home. He wants to see them because he thinks he's dying. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. He got married instead. In 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. You get married in 1744 because you're in love. We're not even a country. You can't even get a green card. No such thing there. But anyway, she was correct. Her dad did not die right away and started sending gifts from England to this base. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I can promise you that. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are actually wearing it tonight. That's what we use it for now. They didn't have denim back then, but you kind of get the gist. When she got these indigo seeds, though, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated, because it's not always hot here. So when she figured it out, she moved into another plantation just south of here, by the Stony River. Calls her father and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So that's her business. Let's get into the weird stuff, which is why you all are here. So here with your device, because it's brand new, I want you to pick up on whatever questions I assign to anybody else. So whatever kind of floats your boat, I'm just playing experimentation with your device tonight. So we're going to go right down the line. So Dave, with your device, I want you, like when you get it unmuted and once we're all separated, I'm going to have you focus on what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here. If you get an answer, when did that happen? Obviously, these are non-yes or no questions. We're going after specific details. Eliza Pinckney, her married name before she was Pinckney started with the letter L. That's called her maiden name. I don't know if you're aware of what that is. But you can ask Eliza what her name was before she married Charles. And hopefully you'll get the answer. We're going to keep things nice and simple with yours, but you seem like you're a little nervous, so we're going to help you out with that. Let's see. The children on your end, Sophia. I want you to ask how many children there were and what their names were. Nothing else. The reason I say that is because there is a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear, the little bit of EMF that we're already getting, that thing will bottom out to zero and all activity will stop. Don't poke the bear, we'll all know it's you. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke, like I'm not that serious. But again, I have seen that in the past where somebody's like, yeah, I started asking about that tragedy and all of a sudden everything stops. There's no point in us staying here, so we have to move on. Gwen, with your device. Eliza's death. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, if you guys decide to go rogue with your asking of questions, make sure they're non-yes or no questions, and something we can actually prove. You can't prove how somebody felt. Just say, how did you feel about your marriage to Charles? The only thing that we can do to actually have that, his Carrie's device actually has emojis on it. There's a mode on there for emojis. It's stupid. We're not using it. And there's also a yes/no on there, which to me is too easy. I don't want yes/no. We want specifics. I'm hoping you get some spelled words out of that tonight. So cameras, you kind of get the gist that we're not going to be filming cars. We are fortunate enough that it is Sunday night and there's only 2 cars in here. Last night there wasn't a space available, so it limited all of us to the center of the space. So with that said, I am going to spread you guys out, turn up your spirit boxes. Dave, you're going to have to unmute yours to get it to be heard. Video cameras, don't film cars. We do not go in between vehicles either. So where's the moment? So Larissa, I got to work with you. I'm going to keep you behind. Everybody else, let's spread out. I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you to see what's going on with your devices and taking notes. So you can hang out too with us if you want to.
That's one of it. Anytime it bounces above this, like
what do
it's
you got?
got like 20.
All the way up to 20.
What? Okay.
You've obviously seen the numbers.
Get the emojis yet?
I don't have anything yet. Let's see.
Spicy. Exactly.
A couple of times. That's why I asked him.
We got a rando. We got a rando over there. That?
I'm lighting up like crazy.
Remember that spot? Take a picture too. Great description. Great description. We've been spotted. The people that walked by were like, these people are walking around in this parking lot because they're trying to find ghosts.
Yeah, that lady.
So,
what are you guys doing?
yeah,
I keep getting stuff like right
guys
here.
are following.
Yeah, like this whole little strip right here.
Her sounds like she's finding gold.
I know.
Right?
Am I supposed to be asking questions tonight too?
Probably, yeah. Especially with like the places that are going
I
off.
would just say with yours,
There,
you could just test it.
here, I guess.
Am I supposed to ask random questions?
Eliza, where you at, dog?
Well, basically, in a nutshell, it's all two. You should be working together. People should be following you, and they should be trying to get you together. I don't know why. I feel like you two are the ones that look. Yeah. So they should be following the two of you because you guys know where the hot spots are. So if you get a little bit of a blip that's going on there, like you should definitely stop. Oh yeah, I was right there. Like you're getting something right now. Yeah. So I would stay put. Pick up on somebody you have. Give you somebody you have. I would stand and wait and see what kind of letters are going to pop up with him. So again, if you guys want to ask questions together,
Oh, what we were doing. Well, what are you doing? I was like, okay. Pretty cool. Yeah, the one we're doing in Savannah is more of a. Usually we do more of like the ghost one, but it's more like the side of stuff. So they go into, which is usually like our first stop, because we find out like, oh, that's cool history about that building. Or,
Right.
Like I try to stay away from the ones that's like our.
in the neck, but the bullet landed behind him in the wall. John gets up after being the only one that's been shot, by the way. He goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, and ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you a building is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that occurred here. However, what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly stored here. I say allegedly because we don't know if the renovation of Big John's filled it in. Even if they did, Big John's blood is still in this building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. It's part of the reason why we started here. This is your heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight. The ghosts are not on the payroll. I have no idea what's about to happen because I can't make them do anything. However, if anybody feels any of those symptoms, we're always going to blame our weather first, heat and humidity. You guys probably are definitely not used to our humidity over here, so especially coming from California.
Right.
So again, we're always, not everything's going to be paranormal, but I will always move the group to get that one person to safety for safety's sake. Is that fair to everybody? Okay, figured as much. You got kids on the tour, gotta make sure everybody's good. So, big earthquake here in 1886, which is part of the reason why I asked you guys earlier, like, what other tours are you taking? So that way I kind of know your base knowledge of Charleston. We all talk about this big earthquake of 1886 because you're in South Carolina. We're not supposed to have earthquakes. We're supposed to have hurricanes. So the reason I bring this up is because the building, Big John's, is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building, a piece of it broke off in the front of the building, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them. but they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting? And get off this loud street corner so it doesn't feel like I'm shouting at you guys? Alright, we're actually going to go this way. So I'm going to set up in this way. Go ahead and hit your stop button and then restart it back up again. Just want to make sure your camera's going to calibrate with the correct temperatures. Welcome to your first stop, everybody. Kiri, do you have any letters showing up, by the way?
None, not
Nothing
yet.
so far.
Nothing so
Okay,
far.
good. I just want to keep tabs on it so when it gets full, I almost want to take a picture of it so that way I can have it for anagram references. So, welcome to the Big Red Barn Lot. This place is, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. This is just so we can talk more about your devices and I can answer more questions. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. So then I say some of them because we have multiple carriage companies in Charleston. But they can't hear us, so that's why we use earbuds with the spirit boxes and why I ask that the other ones stay on mute. But the history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So keywords here, obviously, delivery, milk, eggs, anything relatable to a stable. Obviously, we had the word horse show up last night, so that was an easy reference, like it popped up right away. So, you guys have a lot of communication devices. What do you think the first question is everybody wants to ask when they get a communication device to dead people, including a Ouija board? What's what everybody wants to ask? Come on, Ryan, you know this one. I see you looking around like, who's going to answer? Really? You guys have never seen a board? Or
Is it gonna follow us?
Who are you?
Who are you? Is it going to follow us? What else? Let's think simpler.
Are you friendly?
Are you
Not-
friendly?
Are you friendly? We'll take that one. So if somebody answers no, that means somebody isn't friendly. Or they might actually be friendly. But the first question everybody usually wants to ask, especially to a Ouija board, is anybody here? Right?
Yeah.
So if somebody hears no, that means somebody's here, is usually the example I made. So again, it was supposed to kind of lighten things up for you guys, and you guys went all off the wall. So again, like overthinking, we're supposed to have fun, right? I know I'm pretty serious, but this is my career here. So with that said, normally when I'm teaching people how to use spirit boxes and a communication device, I tell them to ask questions they already know the answers to kind of verify what's actually going on around them. For an example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. Who did I give the word list to? So Tessa. So let's say Tessa's not listening; she's only watching for words. But the rest of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us, and the word red might not be available to them to be able to answer us directly. But fire truck, blood, heart, all three of those things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there's at least two things going on to be able to at least come remotely close to being called or labeled paranormal. Another example. Let's say Tessa's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to us over here, especially since we were just talking about football players. But Gwen here is the number 40 on her spirit box. Now together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where we're going to be putting the clues together all night long? So a lot of these people we're going to be discussing tonight are going to be from the 17 and 1800s. They all have the same damn names. So Johns and Georges. We need to know who the heck we're talking to. That's why we always look for the secondary verifier. You're going to hear me use that term a lot tonight. That's Jose. So again, a very specific name. So I'll check the roster of football players and see if there's a Jose, and then we'll obviously see if there's a number or something corresponding with a Jose from that team. So cameras. There's three of you working with cameras tonight. So all three of you, first and foremost, we're going to be in areas just like this where there's going to be parked vehicles and people passing by. People do not like their cars to be filmed or pictures being taken of, and people don't like to be filmed themselves. They think we're vlogging out here, creating a YouTube channel, which is funny because all of the videos go to YouTube anyway. But at the same time, they don't know what we're doing. So again, if I do it, Andy's coming, that means basically, Nate, you're going to point your camera to the ground because obviously you're the most obvious type of camera with the biggest one that we
Okay,
actually
yeah.
have. Eli, you're playing with a cell phone, so that's part of the reason why I gave that one to you. It's much easier to kind of hide it. And then, of course, Sabrina, you can be the tourist all night long. You've got a camera.
I'm a mom.
You're
I
good to go.
almost have a fanny pack.
So let's talk about these cameras. So to kind of elaborate a little bit with yours, so you're going to try to do two things. I know I just told you not to film other people, but I do want you to try to keep one of us in view at all times. Our skin temperature is the warmest thing out here, no matter how humid it is. So it's going to give us that nice array of color, because if I leave the screen and you're filming the wall, it's going to automatically turn red when it should be blue behind me right now because I'm in shot of your camera. So try to keep one of us in view. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out of view. The reason for that is that blue dot I told you all about earlier is looking for surfaces to measure. There's no surface on the sky and is the coldest area in the frame. So again, if you can, keep the sky out. That will be impossible during some locations, just so you know. Nice slow movements out of yours. That's the only thing I really have since we're not using lasers with yours tonight. When I say let's go ahead and cut those off, you're going to hit the top button all the way to the right on the top of the camera, and I can see the blinking light on the front that shows us that it is recording. So I want to continue it going. We'll kind of keep it running a little bit as we go into the next spot. I think the only other thing I need to worry about, where did that millimeter go? Who did I give the millimeter to? No, you have Spirit Box. Larissa. So I will going to work with you a little bit more at our next spot, which is the first stop. We're going to use that motion sensor.
Okay.
Are you guys ready to get away from football players and ponies? Because I want to deep dive into much deeper history than right.
One of the best ones we ever did was in Edinburgh at a cemetery that what is Black Friars? Greyfriars Cemetery in Edinburgh.
Mine's the most like solid, but it's like been quite
There's a lot.
so
They're
weird.
more
Why
like
we do the
history
tours.
tours.
This one's a little more scientific.
Yeah. It's a nice change of pace though.
Yeah, I just figured different. That's like
It's hard to like pay attention and all this.
No, yeah. This is all new to
It
us
says clearly type A. It's really
Like on the same. Oh, it's different.
So, just so you know, the game we're playing with yours, again, most of it is not going to be anything. So I will work with you once we're all done with the history here. After I'm done with Mom. Okay, once I'm done with Mom and showing her how to use hers, then I'll work with you on how to, that way you know what's actually going on. What do you got now? And do we have any colors on the K2? Sabrina, you got any colors back there?
no.
37 and 29. Okay, so remind me to write down 37 and 29.
Okay.
Let me know if it goes above that 37. So, welcome to your first weird space, everybody. You made it to a parking lot. Congratulations.
Ooh.
I told you I'd be taking you to spaces that other ghost tours won't go to. Nobody comes here. So, what is this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space. So, first off, all of you spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes, and yes, I'm going to withhold information purposely. That way everybody has a genuine experience. Is that fair to everybody? Again, I'm not here to make anything up. I want you guys to actually find it for yourselves. So, let's go through the quick history of what this place is. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. Now you know why we look for the secondary verifiers. We need to know which Chuck we're chatting with. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics, and we're going to move on. Just because if I don't mention it, what's weird is it actually will come up.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure it's going to continue recording. Go ahead and grab that handle. And it has got a little bit of weight to it. Don't be afraid of it. So nice slow movements out of you all night long, and we will be talking more about your cameras as we kind of go through.
Does that clip on yours or do you want me to clip?
Spirit boxes. Like I said, we're going to be using several different styles of spirit boxes tonight. So in a nutshell, taking pictures.
Yeah.
Proceeds. So, spirit boxes, if you're unfamiliar with them, they're basically a radio sweeper, and it's the white noise that you would normally capture on your TV shows, right? And then your host is going to tell you what he thinks he heard and put it up in the middle of the screen, trying to convince you of the same thing. Now, we're going to be doing this in real time. However, these are slowed down on purpose. None of you are trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours. Somebody's going to fall asleep. Like, with the history I'm going to give and 2 hours of white noise, yeah, somebody's going to be zonked out. So I slowed them down on purpose, allowing the radio chatter to come through. So song lyrics, DJs, and commercials will come through this device. That's what we're listening for. It's a 50-50 shot that if we can make out whatever the DJ is saying, I can tie it to the location, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens pretty much on a nightly basis. So with this guy, it is already recording. So Sophia, you're going to be the only one to hear it in real time. You're going to have an earbud in. And I don't want earbuds back because your earwax is gross, no matter how cute you are. So with that said, everybody's going to get this recording back tomorrow morning. So with whatever she hears in real time, I will be writing everything down, and it will go in your notes. I'm going to spot check this recording tomorrow morning and give you about 15 to 20 more markers of things that I captured in the middle of this recording as well. So again, you get to keep those. I don't want them back. Undo your twist tie. Your volume button is right here.
And just keep one of them in?
Just keep one of them in, so that way you can actually share it with somebody else in between spaces. I actually use 2 of these specifically. However, Gwen, this one's not going to record. So I'm going to be relying on you in real time to whatever we capture. If I give you guys 4 hours of white noise, somebody's going to hunt me down and kill me from California. So again, I'm going to be relying on you so I can write those things down. Your earwax is also gross, so you get to keep these. And they're cheap headphones, so it's not like anything to brag about. So under your twist tie, your volume button is the wheel at the top. So I'm just making sure it's turned all the way down, and you're all set up.
Okay, good.
Let's see, which spirit box we
I'm
want to do
deaf,
next.
so
Might not be
Again, we
able
use
to
lots
help
of them because we're going to hopefully make full sentences tonight between all the different spirit boxes. This one, pretty unique. This one actually gives us the words in the center of the screen from time to time. So in a nutshell, this is going to replace the obelisk of what you guys see on your TV shows. So it's going to save all of the words to a word list with timestamps. Kind of helps direct me on what I need to listen to on the recordings, on the videos, that kind of thing. This is a phone app, which means 80% of this is going to be absolute garbage. I'm just going to put it out there right now. The other 20% is going to be relative to our space, the person, one of us. The same principle as all of the others. Last night they had 79 terms. That's about average for a 2-hour time frame. And this one, why am I losing your name? Maybe because you didn't say it last time. Tessa. So Tessa, this one's actually going to go to you. That's a nice, easy one. So I'll show you more about that. I don't want to see every word that pops up. I'll come to you when we're going to review the list together. Is that fair? All right.
We'll die to that first.
The brand new device. Probably never even seen one of these because you're like my only enthusiast here. At least it looks that way. This actually just came out onto the market about 2 months ago. This is what they call an envoy. So basically it's going to have a cursor moving through all of the letters. Any EMF spike is going to stop the letters and give us a series of letters and possibly anagrams at the bottom of the screen. So I've been using this for about a week now, maybe 5 nights total. We haven't caught anything like super great substantially, but hopefully tonight is going to be our night. I figured because you're kind of already familiar with these type of things, that this brand new device, new to the field itself, would be more exciting for you. So again, we're going to be playing around with the sensitivities of that device at this point.
The techie got the new toy.
You're getting another brand new device.
Digital Ouija.
This spirit box is going to sweep through both FM and AM radio stations at the same time and try to take out the white noise in between the radio stations, thus only giving us words. We're only going to hear about 10 to 12 phrases out of it the entire night. That's nothing out of it. So again, this is about 75% accurate just due to the lower amount of things we actually hear that come out of it. The only thing you need to worry about with this guy is how to hold it because it's already preset with the auto noise canceling feature. The blinking lights are the top. On your right hand side is a mute button. So that's the only button you're going to need to worry about. Actually, I think I want to actually turn the auto noise canceling down. There we go. So we're going to get little tiny blips out of this from time to time. I'm going to put it on mute for right now just because we're going to be passing by some horses and they don't like the white noise. Let's see.
Stuff off already?
All right, you guys have seen these on TV. You've also seen these on Phasmagoria or Phasma. I can't remember even how to say it. Phasmophobia. So again, I don't play it. I play other things. So with that, this is pretty much a necessity for our tour. So we use this to debunk a lot of things. Any kind of parking meters, any kind of electrical wiring, any kind of buildings, that kind of thing. So I already have the colors memorized on this guy, but because it is super simple, there's no button pushing, no watching anything other than colors, you're going to have 2 jobs. And I normally don't hand this device to anybody under the age of 18 because they don't know what the hell it is. So this is a digital camera.
Aww.
So, I know, right? So, you're going to be taking pictures for us all night long. There's no flash on this guy. So whenever you're taking photographs, nice and still. So we never know what's going to show up on these. You could take 5 pictures, you could take 500. I'm going to go through every single one of them no matter how dark they are. Okay. So again, the screen is obviously on right now. The shoot button is very obvious. If it powers down because of no activity, because you didn't take any pictures, the power button is right next to it.
Oh.
So it's very easy to use. So you're actually double-fisted. Look at you.
Alrighty.
Last but not least, you're my multitasker.
That's great.
So this guy, this is what we call a millimeter. So a millimeter is actually going to measure 3 different things for us. It also has an electromagnetic field meter in it, so it's going to measure any kind of electrical current in the air. So anything above 2.5 on that top number, I want to know what's going on so that way we can try to debunk it first or see if we actually have something going on. The bottom is ambient temperature. In the event that Eli finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it or prove it with the little yellow ambient probe at the top. It's measuring ambient temperature based on the little antenna sticking off the top. Last but not least, it has a motion sensor built into it. If anything gets close to that antenna, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it, just so you know. I'm touching it now.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you more about the motion sensor at the first stop that we're actually going to use it. So for now, I'm going to turn it off so you can kind of get used to the numbers on your screen.
Okay, so the top, this one, 2.5.
2.5 and higher.
Okay.
All right, everybody's geared up, yes?
Yep.
All right, Tessa's in charge. Let me know what happens. No, I'm kidding. She just got really worried. So, you're going to have questions, I promise.
Yeah.
So, what's your question?
Okay, so this is basically just like where the blue dot, where it's just blue and black, that's, do I like tell you what it is, blue and black?
No, not necessarily, because if somebody like us is going to be in view, because I'm going to be, the warmest thing out here because I'm a person, I should be about 97 to 99 degrees. You're going to have blue and black in there. We're looking for changes in shape or for the blue and black to start moving on their own. Now, when you're moving around, because we're going to be investigating spaces, that blue dot just helps direct everybody else's eye when they're watching your video of where those cold spots might be. Like I found a very small anomaly, about 13-degree difference from the ambient temperature last night's video. But it's very quick and very subtle. So again, it's a matter of like, wasn't near anything where it should have been. So we're going to talk more about your device at the next stop. Perfect. See how we answer quick questions? Nice.
Oh, also, what are these numbers?
Those are the radio stations.
Oh, so this is a radio.
Exactly. You're listening for DJ song lyrics and commercials.
And if it sounds like a lot of like breaking up, that's like the main sound.
If you hear a car commercial that says buy a Kia today, I want to know that you heard buy a Kia today. Because the word buy might actually mean something to the location of where we are. If you hear the song drop it like it's hot, I want to know that you heard the lyric drop it like it's hot. There may have been a fire at the location we're at. Does that make more sense now? Because again, we're going to be looking for very, very specific things. So, with that said,
Do I keep this recording the whole time?
I'm going to give you the cues for the starts and stops.
Okay. Should I keep it right now?
Yes, you're going to keep it on right now.
Oh, I'm hearing a song.
Yeah, as you should. It's the radio. You shouldn't be like hearing the whole song right now. You should be going through all of the radio stations very quickly. Can I see your screen? Yeah, it's moving, so you should be hearing all of one song.
Is it changing?
You should be changing radio stations. Okay. Just want to make sure before we actually keep it rolling, because you have the one that's recording, right? Yes.
I think so.
All right. So there's a reason why we start here. Of course there is. The place is haunted. Big John's behind me. This place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. Now you know why it was named Big John's. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always do my best to slow down on specific common keywords that we get at that location. Keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, anything relatable to a bar, and the name John, obviously. But anyway, here's why the place is haunted. John used to sit at the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in. They weren't old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out, and they left pretty angry. They came back the next night, and they tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on, and he slams down his beer, and he gets up, and he starts beating the heck out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of guns, but with 9 people, the laser grid portion is the least, I guess, exciting.